Alright. Alright. Okay, Microsoft. See, you're learning from me. Microsoft Corporation, you're learning from me, you know. See, I'm the one that said communication is big in today's video game world. I'm the one that said developers can't hide anymore. You know why? Because we got the email system, we got the phones, we got, of course, there's social media, there's podcasts, there's blogs, and there's video conferencing. The developers can't hide anymore. All that sitting in the background and hiding, nah, you can't hide no more. Come out. Anyway, you guys are learning from me. I'm the one that said it. But anyway, so what is this saying about Microsoft? Say user feedbacks would have never made modern Windows design as special. Look, man. Look. You need feedbacks. Communication is big in technology and video games. You gotta talk. Just saying. And you learned it from me. Yeah. I'm the one that said it. So when you see someone else talking about communication, like, you learned that from Chris, they're gonna be like, Chris who? But anyway, look, listen to this. It says here, recently Intel CEO Lip Bhutan at the company Vision 2025 event talked about how the vision for Intel going forward would be to focus on the consumer feedbacks and performance. You learned it from me, Microsoft. Intel, yeah. Communication is big in technology and video games. Developers cannot hide anymore. No more laziness. Okay? No more laziness. You got it from me. But anyway, says here, says a funny quippy comments on that article by NeoN forum member Mike Steele caught my attention. He says it would be interesting if Microsoft had this ideology, also make software what users want. Says here, currently it makes Microsoft software platform to sell other Microsoft software like Windows is no longer an OS. It's an advertisement platform for Office 365 Copilot. Coincidentally, a Microsoft employee recently suggests that user feedback was in fact a bit on the back seat when the company was designing Windows 8. The comments was made by Harold Gomez, who was likely in the position of the user design at the time. Says there, Microsoft held a down the memory lane sort of event recently where it looked back on the evolution of Windows design over the years. It makes sense considering the company is currently celebrating its 5th anniversary, with folks like Bill Gates sharing a historical piece of his work. It says here Gomez said Microsoft designer relied on their own instincts to make something modern like Windows 8 instead of users and customer feedbacks. See, communication is big, you know, in the world. You know, you got to talk, you know. Communication is big, you know. Putting your hands in your pocket don't solve anything. I'm just saying. You learned it from me, though. But anyway, says here, a part of the design process is trying to balance their feedbacks with your design instincts. We certainly could not have gotten. We certainly could have not gotten to what Windows 8 was with the Metro visual style, solely relying on customer feedbacks. It was something customers would have never have asked for because we lived in a very iPhone world at the time. And Samsung, yeah. Says here, Windows design took a pivot and tried to create something different. While root in our design ethos and principle, we experimented with information design, typography, layouts, and making motion designs in integral parts of our system. We did the work around understanding what our customers' needs were and coupled those insights with our design instinct, which helped us create something special. It says here, That did not turn out so well for the company, since we all know what happened with Windows 8 after its release. The OS was a hit with a widespread backlash, as users hated the fact that the youthful and intuitive start button was removed, and Microsoft was forced to bring it back real soon with 8.1. Says here, here's has Microsoft learned its lesson? Let us know what you think in the comment. Well, let's see here. What do we got? 24 comments. Let me see what the politicians. Let me see what the politician and debaters are talking about here. Let's see here. That's 5 minutes, so I should be able to get through this. 24 comments. Let's see. Arcellus said this. This is so bad that I simply gave up on something to write to roast them. And then Mr. Electrifier said this. Yeah, so special that they literally turned Windows Update into a malware delivery mechanism that can wipe or brick your device at any moment. How modern. We can all live without such special stupidity. Microsoft. And the Red said this. Their own instinct and ignore users. That explained absolutely moronic recommended section in the start menu that they need 5 years to finally remove. That recommended section that takes up 12 icon slots, and if you disable it, it just displays recommended disable. Turn it on to show recommended app taking 12 icon slots. No, really, they literally did this. Are you dumb? Or how they need 2 years to fix, it says, dumb broken storage sense that didn't purge files older than 30 days from recycle bins. I was screaming at them about it on all ends, posting it on support hubs. Nothing. Then after 2 years they finally decide it's time to fix it. After I had terabytes of deleted files in the recycle bin going back months and months because the thing didn't purge them automatically and set in settings for all the around the TPM force work connectivity during Windows install to force online accounts, for all of which you need to find bypass methods that Microsoft kept changing for some reason. Like my God, you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and you make such design because that you vomit. Not even single devs making indie useful make such a design that makes you vomit. Not even single devs making indie useful apps don't make elementary idiocies in their projects. It says I wish I could go all out to Linux, but I can't because of gaming and all the shenanigans Microsoft did and still does to prevent gaming to become a proper thing on Linux. So I could finally entirely dump Windows and all its, yeah. Look, this is why I call them out on the console ban, man. That Xbox One console ban. They were really scamming people. They thought they got away with it. They thought they did. It says here, he says there is a register key tweak which disables recommended sections on the Pro Home Edition. DM me. And then who is this? Dutch said this. You shouldn't need a reg fix to disable that annoying part of the start menu. And then Yona, he said Microsoft had a vision at the time, and in what could be construed as a response to user feedback, made changes effectively were concessions to that vision. Rather than continue to refine the vision as originally indicated, it made mistakes by getting rid of positive aspects in addition to get rid of what were registered as negative aspects. I truly believe Microsoft should have continued with Windows 8 vision. It has been said elsewhere that it takes 3 times for Microsoft to get it right. That is not all to say Windows 8 itself was based on user feedback, but changes were made disregarding all of this. To answer the question, Microsoft has not listened to feedbacks for a long time. The truth of the statement is apparent in the feedback hub alone. A person could go for a long time, discuss abandoned ideas, abandoned principle, features instruction, features reduction, features removal, and half-hearted implementation of features. Microsoft itself seems to not know what it wants to do. Man, look, this is why I called them on that console ban, man, because they were doing the damage to themselves, man. When they came to Xbox, they were doing damage to themselves. Says here, and then Eternal said this: it's difficult for Microsoft to get it right, and it's easy for them to get it wrong. They are trying to make one design for multiple generations of users across multiple styles of hardware. I wonder why they don't make 2 or more styles and give the users a choice. Windows 8 under the hood was stable and nice under the hood improvement with a touchscreen UI that made keyboard and mouse greatly increase the number of clicks you had to do compared to 7. This misread the market on that. It actually worked well if you were on a portable touchscreen tablet. And then it says, maybe I use Start 11 by Stardock. It's a $10 per license and $15 for 5. If you can release the license from their website to move it to a different machine, it also integrates with the everything free search app. There are free alt start menus as well, but haven't used them in a long time to compare. Yeah, Microsoft for you, man. Someone says, that's cool, I run it at home too, but for thousands of business and user points, no. And then who is this? Let's see. Ecta said this: no, Microsoft has not learned its lesson. Microsoft best talent left a while ago thanks to a stock divestment, and said talent replaced with people who could code C, C++, or .NET if their life depended on it, and instead only code in web language. Hence, Frankensteinian web element infused OS and apps outlooks we have now. Don't get me started on how poorly performant Win user interface 3 is. Yeah, they got some work to do. And who is this? Let's see, who is this? And then Mike said this: thanks for making me famous. But yeah, after being a Windows user since Windows 3.1, it's always amazed me how this company can, year after year, ignore customer feedbacks not intended here. That feature request does not create Microsoft more money, so no. Run a project as large as Windows without any one vision. It seems like each team group inside Microsoft is allowed to do whatever they want without any regards to some other group work. Yeah, the same can be said for the Xbox enforcement team. It says eye candy is generally regarded as useless and not professional or not productive. And then who is this? He said yet eye candy sells. Then it says one could argue that Windows 95's biggest selling point were eye candy and plug and play. Had Win95 looked like 3.1 but include P and P, it would not have been a hit. Metro/Modern were pretty. Universal I hated because it looks like going back to the glory days of 16-color EGA. Windows Phone died in part because it looked like a child toy phone, and no study group can change that fact. But it was 0.01% more efficient in tests. No one cares. And then he says Microsoft did at one point listen to its customers at time when it was still in competition in OS space. But when Windows, like IE, became a monopoly OS without any actual alternative, Microsoft just lost all interest in a consumer and customers and feedback. So then the one monopoly OS development stagnated, and now is being used as platform to try to build the next monopoly in some other OS productive like Copilot and Office 365. And then he says, in Dream Microsoft World, take a bunch of power user window people in one room and let them tell everything that is wrong with Windows, and he says, and then actually fix those bugs. Let the one fact that the user is no longer in control of the OS that they buy and use. Yeah, the same can be said for Xbox One. Microsoft decided what's good for you. We know better. Ads are good. No, you cannot configure anything. No, you cannot turn off that. No, you cannot have an installer where you choose what to install or use, because we know better, and also it makes us more money. Yeah, man, the same could be said for Xbox One. Who is this? Just going through this here. And then Binary said this. They do that. It's called MVP Summit. Maybe you attend one year. Maybe you could attend one year if you put the effort in. And then let's see here. Who else is this? And then Rigby, who's this? Rigby said this. I wouldn't call Windows 95 eye candy. Even at the time, it was just that the taskbar and start menu were a revolutionary improvement. The Windows 3.1 program manager was just, from a usability standpoint, Windows 98 was when they started showing in crap like IE and the active desktop. Then XP brought the Fisher Price, my first OS theme. I think Windows Vista and 7 was the first time things actually look good. Uh-oh. And then Mike said this, compared to Windows 3.1, Windows 95 looked quite nice. Okay, maybe, eye candy, it is a bit too much, but after 16 color flat box of a CGA and EGA era, Windows 95 was miles ahead. And then Thartis said this, clickbait with some serious mental gymnastics. And then Walkman said this, huh? Yeah, they started sounding off here. And then Elfie said that things are a bit more complicated, I am afraid. Vista was made mostly based on user feedback, and it was some sort of a failure. Great looking, bad performance. I was some sort of a better tester than. I had only 5 complaints, all about usability, and they implemented all of them. Funny, but a lot of feedbacks was about better looks, so they got someone else as head of Windows division to fix this. Steven Sinovsky, and we got 7. Unfortunately, the guy was extremely rigid. He did the job, but at some cost, because it was some kind of maniac about respecting the release date. You may say it had some fixed ideas. No user feedback was accepted. I've talked with him few times, telling him about some issues, and he said there's no time to fix them. However, he accepted that in the hurry it was a menu issue with 7. If Vista was usable with touch, there were some nice AIO launch at the time based on Vista. The menu of 7 was too small. And then let's see here, was too small and cannot be used with a touch display. It's said that at the time the next iteration of Windows will fix that, but the result was 8, great with touch, but hard to work with in normal use. He just took the interface from Windows Phone and put it on Windows OS. That was the fix. Yeah, people are sounding off in the comment section, man. They just going at it. Oh, I'm almost done here. Let me see here. I can get through this. Let's see. Man, who is this? I'm almost done here. And then the grip said this. Yeah, it says, but the result was 8 great with touch, but hard to work with in normal use. Whoever could not see that is too bright, as it blatantly obviously that Windows 8's interface was truly horrible for general computers use when it was released. How that made it to the final product is mind-boggling. As common sense, you never make dramatic changes to a core OS navigation. Like that was doing the basic stuff was not easy like normal. It's like they took all of the stuff people were familiar with and tossed it out the window and replaced it with stuff that made no sense whatsoever. I remember back around when I first attempted to use Windows 8. At the first time I was using 7 in a virtual machine, I was very quickly turned away from it, as I tried to do stuff I normally do was just gone and maybe using a impractical and never bothered with it again. I could not believe Microsoft messed it up that badly. And then let's see here, who is this? It says thankfully they never made that big of a mistake since in the basic interface navigation, because one can tweak the interface some, but one never should make dramatic changes to what's been started for decades. Yeah. And then Stephen P said, yeah, that was the evident at the time of Windows 11 development when Microsoft shared videos from the desktop UI team. Also admit they used small focus groups to get positive feedbacks on the changes they were making with start menus and taskbar. It proved that the company is tone deaf and didn't learn from Windows 8 debacle, something they eventually had to almost completely reverse with Windows 8.1, and had to lo and behold, in the years following Windows 11 release, they have to correct the mistake they made with the taskbar and start menu, even if those were reluctant baby steps taken for longer to implement than needed. And this all was not true. A lack of users' feedback were plenty of highly voted users' feedback that is still ignored on feedback hubs. Yeah, communication is big in video games, man. In technology, man. You got to talk to your users. And then Stephen P said, I found the article I was referring to. And then YW said, Design Instinct. I thought they did something usability research, or at least they said so in the past. As with Tehoma fonts, apparently not. What's more infuriating is they're running after temporal current fashion of design instead of inventing their own, as Apple does, always at the expense of usability. And then who was this? Angel said this. Side, this is why users ought to have legal empowered representative at corporate, like a union rep, but for users. And then Nikki said this. Most of the wretchedness with the latest couple of Windows is probably due to a internal 20-something with a little to no actual real-world business experience. Their experience with gaming does not qualify as legitimate experience in business or serious consumer arenas, user arenas. And then Long said this. I'm almost done here. It says, patting themselves on the back for a colossal design failure, definitely special, and taking short bus way, unreal. Then Valky said this. Ask engineers for a better user interface is like asking monkeys for a better banana. They can only eat the banana and not create a new one. That is why we have such a terrible user interface for Windows 11, with next to no improvement across generation. Features being removed for no reasons other than code change and bug galore. Yeah, that's the end of the article. Yeah, communication is big, man, if you want to have success in this world, man. You know, and I said developers, game designers, programmers, they can't hide anymore. You know, in today's world, they can't hide. So yeah, if they want to have success, they got to listen to their users, you know, because the users have the feedbacks, you know. Okay. They got the experience of what the problems that they run into. So Microsoft have to take those feedbacks and turn them into update to make Windows better. So yeah, they can't ignore the users, man, because if they try to pull that stunt again, man, it will be huge. It'll be huge. You know, they'll take a real hit. So yeah, they have to listen to their users. But yeah, communications is big in video games, man. Really big in video games. So yeah, I'm big in technology, you know. So you know, in this world, communication is big. So no one can hide anymore, you know. No one can hide. You know, no one can hide, especially when you got email systems, phones, podcasts, blogs, video conferencing, all these social media websites. Yeah, you can't hide anymore, man. So hope Microsoft learned a lesson, you know, because on the next Windows, everybody will be looking to see what they do with the next one when they come out with it. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy though. So hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, people were sharing their experiences, their experience with Windows operating system, you know. So yeah, you know, but Microsoft, live and learn. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Crystal, Star Wars, Star Trek, Board, Dark Side. Go. Peace. Alright, we're done.